The SEGA Naomi is a really cool piece of arcade technology, but what makes it really neat is some of the advancements that happened toward the tail end of its life, like the Naomi NetDimm. This allows you to load games over a network to multiple SEGA Naomi devices. Utopia would be, what if I could load the whole game catalog when I wanted it to whatever Naomi I wanted, and that's kinda what some of the later solutions around the NetDimm have allowed you to do. But you needed like a security chip and a special BIOS and all this stuff. And before this, you just kind of had cartridges. You'd buy the cartridges you need, or the arcade owner would buy the cartridge you need and play it. This is Marvel vs. Capcom 2. But what if I told you there was a way to modify your Naomi with a Raspberry Pi so you could load the games, the entire catalog of games, and even Atomiswave games with your cell phone? Yeah, that exists, and it's pretty damn cool. Okay, I'm around back of the arcade cabinet and I have this Raspberry Pi hooked up to my NetDimm. I have it hooked up through a crossover cable. And then I have an IP address set on the NetDimm, and then I have the NetLoader software loaded on the Pi. What's really cool is it presents itself with a private network that you can join from a cell phone or a laptop or a tablet or anything like that. And it's called WiPi Netbooter. So as soon as you access that network and you're connected to the Pi, you can go to this website called netbooter.local. And from there you can enable a bunch of different options on the system. Now, one of the things that's really cool is this time hack. So the time hack makes it so you don't need that chip, that zero security chip. So that's really cool. But then the other thing that's awesome is you can look at the games list and you can sort it by SEGA Naomi. Now this is a Naomi 1 board, so I want to make sure I'm looking at Naomi 1 games. So if I wanted to play Border Down, I could simply click on Border Down. It'll show me a little preview video of that game, and I can hit launch game. At that point, I'm gonna send a command to the Naomi NetDimm, and it's gonna start to load that game. And you'll see the progress actually across the app right here. You'll see it as the game starts to load, you'll see the progress. You should, but of course, it's not working anytime I want to do the demo of the video. Go figure. Why would it work? Why would it work when I'm trying to do the demo? I mean, why? Why would it work? Wait, hold on, maybe it's gonna work. Maybe I'm just not being patient. I'm not being patient, see? Just gotta be patient. All right, so here you go. So now you can see it's at 11%, 12%, and you'll see it's gonna load the game right from here. It's not loading it from the phone. The phone's just sort of an interface, like a remote control would be to your TV, right? It's just telling the Pi what to do, and then it's sending the data to the NetDimm. The NetDimm has memory on it, so it loads the game to the memory, and then it just starts playing it. And then the cool thing about the app is you can select what game you want it to load last. So if you want it to boot up every time with the same game, you can do that. This is such a cool solution. This isn't a tutorial by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just really excited about this and wanted to tell you while I'm still so excited. Reality hasn't set in that, there's a lot more to do than just this, but hopefully this gets you pumped up, and if you have a Netboot situation at home or something, you can modernize it with this cool Netbooter solution.
Okay, so you're probably wondering, what do I need to do this at home? Well, what you'll need is, first, you'll need to go to the Naomi Pi WiPi Netbooter website. It's actually just on a forum somewhere. I'll have a link in the description of this, and you can go download the code for the actual Raspberry Pi. It's going to download a bunch of RAR files. You're going to unRAR them into an IMG file, and then you use a tool like Etcher to burn it to a 32 gig micro SD card. Then you'll want to take a look, once that's done, you'll want to take a look at the documentation for what things you need as far as to get the solution up and running. You'll need a Raspberry Pi. They suggest a 3 or 3B or 4B. And again, you'll need that 32 gig micro SD card. You'll need the Naomi hardware itself. So Naomi 2 Triforce or Chihiro with a NetDimm that's running firmware 303 or higher. Now there's different memory NetDimms. The 256 should be good. There's a couple of games that require 512, but for the most part, the 256 one should be fine. You'll also need a BIOS in your Naomi that recognizes the NetDimm, because like I said, the NetDimm came later, so some of the earlier BIOS revisions don't actually support the NetDimm. So just so you know, you can power the Raspberry Pi from the actual Naomi itself. There's actually 4 pins, and one of them on the far left, I think, is 5 volts, and the far right is, I think, ground. so you can power it that way as well. And then after that, that's kind of it, because you don't need the 0 chip because there's a hack inside this software, so you don't need to actually have that 0 chip, which is great because that's a total pain in the ass. But anyways, I'm super excited about this because it's a really cool way to load games into your NetDimm. We're obviously just scratching the surface here, and there's a ton of customization you can do with a solution like this. The team that developed it really put a lot of thought behind making it modern with lots of awesome features. Here's a quick look at the games list before we wrap things up. These games are all encapsulated into the Pi image, so no need to go hunting them down.
All right, I'm gonna play you out to one of my favorite side-scrolling beat-em-ups, and actually this is on the Atomiswave, and because this hack allows you to load the Atomiswave games, I'm able to play this on my Naomi system, which is pretty damn cool. Anyways, there's ports to these games on the Dreamcast, so you can play it on there too, but this is one of those side-scrolling beat-em-up hidden gem games that I just love, and I will be featuring this in an upcoming video called 5 Hidden Arcade Gems. But anyhow, I am not a SEGA Naomi expert, but I appreciate you hanging out with me while I geek out and show you something cool. We'll have more in-depth videos on this soon. And if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel. Put your comments below. I want to hear what you think of this. And we will see you. Oh? The next one.